In this video, let's talk about building an abundance mindset to do life as successfully as we possibly can. A mindset that we actually don't need to learn or achieve, but we want to build, we want to nurture. Because the abundance mindset is something that we already know we can tap into because we are connected to that at all times as mind, heart, spirit beings. But now we're going to get more intentional about cultivating that mindfully. So to get intentional about this, what we're going to talk about in this video is facing life as a universal video game. And I'm going to call it the universe adventure. We're going to assess our challenges through that gaming perspective and then just consider how does this relate to some real life challenges that we all face. And so if you're up for that, let's dive into this topic. This is the Balance Journey, where we're all about turning challenges into growth opportunities and bringing mindfulness to everyday life. Okay, so like I said, you and I, we already have an abundance mindset. It might not feel like it's really activated in you, or you feel like, you can tune into it sometimes and you really feel positive and optimistic and believing in the enoughness of life and in all the things that an abundance mindset would give you. But, there are going to be times when you maybe don't feel like you really are trusting it. And we often feel defeated when we go through failures, what we call failures, all because I think, we are not having that narrative that reminds us that's okay, this is just a part of this journey. But in the sense of life, this universe adventure being our playground, I mean, I don't want to diminish the experiences of life, but in those games that we're playing on our phones, when something goes wrong and we're like, oh, I just can't make it all, fit together, and so I'm out of chances. I mean, we don't really have the issue of getting frustrated and anxious over a scenario like that. It doesn't even feel like real failure. And we just see it as a fun challenge, right? And we're actually moved towards that challenge. We're like, I remember yesterday, I tried it this way, so I'm going to try it a different way today. And so, in that sense, we are innately confident that if we just keep our eyes open, that there are going to be opportunities. And sometimes in certain games, oh, now I got a bonus out of that, so we're going to get bonuses and we're going to be able to put those things away into our stash of things that we can use when we're really struggling or we're really needing to get out of this pickle that we're in, and that is really the same in life, I mean, the universe adventure, when we get stuck, the problem is that we have too many false interpretations and emotional lies that we have been building up also as part of our lifetime. That's just how it is for all of us. And obviously, at the Balance Journey, and if you're watching this, you're probably interested in mindfulness and so forth. We're trying to be mindful about not letting that weigh us down and not letting that tell us lies. But, we have old patterns and we have old ways that we view ourselves or view challenges. And, some people will immediately lash out and who am I to blame? Who can I blame? And other people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so screwed up, and they blame themselves. And I mean, the thing is that in that sense, we are in a scarcity mindset. We're shrinking ourselves. We're shrinking the sense of possibility because that's just a default reaction. And so I feel like that's where the discipline of the mind comes in, If we're going to be intent on building on that abundance mindset, we have to be disciplined enough to say, I see myself, I see what I'm doing, which is my default way of handling things, but there is abundance and I have to really grab that. I have to really have this sense of pushing away the lies and telling myself this is what's true. Maybe an intention statement might help at that point. And so this is the intention statement that I've come up with. And again, I always say, you don't have to take my intention statement, but just remember it's about accepting, being willing, and trusting. So here's my intention statement for you. God, I accept that abundance is in this scenario, even though I haven't recognized it yet. I am willing to broaden my perspective, to build on this abundance. And I trust that there is continuous opportunity and possibility unfolding for me to feel more successful in doing life. Okay, so this idea of building on your abundance mindset, remember to watch for and nurture those aspects of abundance that you do see. where you see optimism in how you're viewing something. You see yourself being generous of spirit. You see any mental, emotional, or spiritual growth, and gratitude, where you're just knowing, I am grateful for even the littlest things. Because those things, when you are intentional about recognizing and honoring those things, you are building the abundance mindset. And even if you're thwarted again, or it's, you don't feel like you really successfully handled something, you can always say, okay, now I've made some progress, in the sense of like you're leveling up. You've got to acknowledge your progress. You're leveling up. There's always going to be times when, you feel like, okay, I'm still kind of, being thrown back into experiences that make me feel the same way, and I feel like I'm not quite handling it the way I'd want to. But you are making progress. You got to magnify those things, and that's what you're concerned about. It's progress. Even someone who is losing their battle, with a debilitating disease or so forth, that's not losing. Even then, they have the potential for finding abundance. They are not trying to avoid death. That's not the whole point. It is about avoiding a sense of defeat. And defeat is the feeling of smallness, the feeling of limitation. And so in us establishing our practice in our own way, we have something to give to the next generation to help them find abundance in their circumstances, because they're struggling. They're struggling with stuff that, we somehow managed to get through. And now it's our turn to kind of be mentors and to just let them know to believe in the abundance that's always there, and to define success by identifying their progress, so that they deepen their confidence in the fact of a constant growth, and that in the end, there is always a win involved. We just got to find it. So in closing, I just want to say, stay alert. Stay alert to the abundance in even the smallest things, and keep building on that. And I'll talk to you in the next video.